Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into Rayonier's annual report. Get ready because after reading this, you'll either want to invest in a forest or run screaming from the lumber industry. Rayonier, a big player in the timber business, just dropped their yearly report and there's a lot to unpack beyond just trees. We're talking big money, land deals, and a surprising amount about carbon. Let's get started. First off, Rayonier is what's called a timberland REIT, meaning they own and manage forests, like a landlord but for trees. They make money from selling timber, think lumber and paper, and also from real estate deals, where they sell land for things other than growing trees. They've got their hands in a few different pots, or rather forests. We're talking the US South, the Pacific Northwest, and even New Zealand. Each region brings something different to the table in terms of tree types and markets. A key part of Rayonier's strategy is something they call sustainable yield. This basically means they try to harvest timber at a rate that doesn't deplete their forests. They want to keep growing trees and making money for the long haul. They own millions of acres, so they think they can take care of the environment and make a profit at the same time. Now let's talk numbers. Their southern timber business, think pine and hardwoods, is aiming for a harvest around 6.5 to 6.9 million tons a year. But they sold off a chunk of land in Oklahoma, so that'll change things a little bit. In the Pacific Northwest, they're looking at harvesting around 115 to 135 million board feet. Mostly saw timber, stuff for building. They sold almost a third of their land up there in Washington state, so their harvest will be lower for a while. New Zealand is a different story. They're harvesting pine and also selling carbon credits. This is because New Zealand has a system where companies get credits for planting trees that suck up carbon from the atmosphere. This segment is a joint venture, meaning they don't own 100% and are managed by another company. Beyond the trees, they are also in the real estate game. They try to sell land for prices that are much higher than what it's worth for just growing timber. They call it higher and better use. Sometimes they just sell the raw land, other times they invest in improvements like roads and utilities to make it more attractive to developers. They also do something called conservation easements, which is selling the right to develop land to someone like a conservancy, but keeping the right to grow and harvest timber. Their trading segment, mostly in New Zealand, is all about buying and selling logs. They don't just sell their own logs. Sometimes they buy logs from other forest owners and then export them, trying to make a profit on the difference. Of course, it's not all sunshine and lumber. There are risks. The economy can always slow down, which hits demand for wood. Also, they need permission from governments to do a lot of things, and those approvals can be slow or uncertain. Environmental groups can also throw a wrench in the works, trying to block harvesting or development. Also, they have the environmental risks. Rayonier is responsible for cleaning up a former sawmill site they acquired. This cleanup has been a long time coming and has cost a lot of money. They also have to worry about things like fires, insect infestations, and climate change, which can all damage their forests. The company does see some opportunities to make money from things like wind farms, solar leases, and carbon capture. In other words, using their land for more than just growing trees. There's also been a change at the top. Mark McHugh is now the president and CEO. They also have a new chief financial officer, April Tice. One thing that Rayonier emphasizes is safety. They want to make sure everyone, including their contractors, goes home safe every day. That is something that many companies can't say. Now let's get to the numbers. Sales were up mostly because of big land sales, but interest expenses also went down. In the end, their profit or net income attributable to Rayonier Inc. HIBL was around $359 million. The company mentioned they manage their forests in the US using guidelines from the Sustainable Forestry Initiative, or SFI. Their New Zealand forests are certified by a couple of other organizations, FSC and PFC. These certifications mean they are trying to manage their forests in a way that protects the environment. Management says they plan to keep owning high-quality timberlands and manage them for the long term. That means balancing growing trees, harvesting timber, and being responsible with the environment. They also want to keep upgrading their portfolio by buying and selling land, and they want to make the most of their real estate by selling it for its highest and best use. Just in case you're interested, there was nothing to report regarding error corrections, restatements, or restatement analysis of incentive-based compensation. Looking into what Rayonier expects, they plan to harvest a little more volume in the south and expect some pricing realizations to slightly improve. Pacific Northwest harvests are expected to be at the low end of what's sustainable. As for real estate, they seem optimistic. They recognize they face cybersecurity threats too, but they have so far seemed to stay on top of them. Also, it's worth noting there are no unresolved staff comments. So, what's the takeaway? Rayonier seems to be trying to balance being a timber company with also being a real estate company. They have solid financial flexibility due to their ability to access capital markets. They are doing lots of large dispositions, so you should watch to see if that strategy continues. If so, they might have short-term gains from it, but also see weakness in sales numbers. Key risks to watch are economic slowdowns, which always hit the timber business hard, and the conflicts overseas, because the price of ocean freight can affect their profit margin and supply chain. Financially, it's tough to put an exact price on Rayonier stock given all the land they own because of the higher and better use. Looking at real estate, they are selling for about $475 acre. As a timber REIT, they could use the earnings from timber harvests, but that has been volatile as mentioned previously. Ultimately, I'd say given current economic and financial results, a target price range for Rayonier's stock RAYONIER would be from $26 to $33. That's all for this video. I'm leaning slightly bearish on Rayonier given their higher debt and lower timber profits in the future. Thanks for watching. Corporate Decoder. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more financial deep dives.